Hey there everybody, I've got another quick little project here. I'm going to be painting this plastic pot. So what I'm going to be using, I'm really dying to use Paint Couture's new chalk paint. They've got this beautiful color, duck egg blue. That's just gorgeous. Okay, but Paint Couture's chalk paint has a little bit of a top coat built in. So I'm not sure if it's going to stick to plastic like I would want it to. So I can either prime it with Paint Couture's bonding primer, or I can use a DIY paint. Okay, I can prime it with DIY paint because it sticks to anything. So let's just quickly get this painted on. Now I think it's dry enough. Okay, so let me grab another paintbrush. All right. See how it does. Beautiful color. I've been dying to use their new paint. So Paint Couture has now has chalk type paints. Oh, it goes on so smooth. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm only gonna do one coat because we're gonna be adding some molds, and then I will put a second coat with the molds. And the reason I do that is because the molds will tend to shrink a little bit. And so if you don't have that base coat under the molds, when it shrinks down, you'll be able to see just a little bit of an outline. And I've got the Fleur de Lis mold here by Iron Orchid Designs, and so I'm going to be making that big Fleur de Lis right there. So the first thing that I like to do is brush a little cornstarch into the mold. That just helps the clay release. It's also helpful just to knead your clay just a little bit before pressing it into the mold. And then you just want to press it firmly down, making sure you get it all the way to the edges. You then want to make sure that the top of the clay is smooth so that it would adhere nicely to your surface when you're gluing it down. So I like to remove the excess with my thumb or finger, and then I'll take a paintbrush and I just use it to roll back and forth across the clay. And that usually will just get it smooth. Need some help with your clay castings? Just scan this QR code. So to release the clay image, you want to turn your mold over and bend it and allow the casting to kind of fall out. You don't want to pull on it because it might stretch the clay. But if it's being a little booger, you can kind of ease it out with your finger, but just try not to pull on it because that will create some cracking in your clay if you pull it out. So this is what it should look like, smooth with some good detail. Now it's time to glue the casting onto the pot. So we do that right out of the mold while it's still pliable. I'm using Tight Bond Quick and Thick glue, and I just use my fingers and rub it lightly over the back of the casting, trying to get it all the way to the edges. Okay, you don't want to use a whole bunch, but just make sure you get a nice coat all the way to the edges. Now you want to gently take the casting and adhere it to the surface. and lightly press on those edges because you want it to fit really snug against the pot. I now take my heat gun just to dry the glue a little bit faster and keep that mold casting in place. And I do that on both sides. And now we're ready to paint again. Okay, so I've let the pot sit a little while and the mold castings are good and dry. That way you can paint them without smudging the details. And I'm using the same duck egg blue color chalk paint by Paint Couture, and I'm just giving the whole pot one more coat. And I sealed it. I sealed it with their satin top coat. Okay, and now I want to try a glaze. Okay, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with this. I wanted to bring out that mold somehow. Does anybody else love to pick the glue off their fingers? I love it. Okay, so now I did seal this so that my glaze could be manipulated, right? I could wipe it off. All right, so got my glaze here, and it's champagne is the color. Champagne. It's really pretty. If you want to use these outside, I would recommend Paint Couture has a top coat, and it's an extreme guard top coat. So that you can put on and it will be good for outdoors, okay? And I can, when I get done, I can top coat it again with that if I need to. All right, so let's get a paintbrush. And I'm just gonna, got my glaze here, I'm just gonna brush it on, okay? Let's just start with this was the fleur-de-lis mold. We'll see how it does. I have not used this paint before, but I loved this color, so I wanted to, just wanted to see. And this glaze has a little bit of a sheen to it, like a, I don't know, it's just really pretty. I do want to get it into the details. This I may not even have to wipe back because it's really nice looking. Afraid y'all may not can see it though. It's just so nice. I think the glaze just makes it a little more, I mean, this isn't elegant by any means, but it does make it a little more elegant. All right, so let's just put that down for just a second. All right, and I'm just gonna spray it. You just want it a little bit damp. So then, once you get the glaze on, you can just kind of wipe it back. You could actually use a little paintbrush if you'd rather use that. But I just like to kind of wipe it off the top and leave it like down in the details, but this doesn't have a lot of details except for the bottom of the little fleur-de-lis. Oh, there, I didn't get some on there. For this piece, when it's not, when it's more of a flat surface like this is, I think a little brush is best. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. Now let's see. I've got a really soft is a DIY brush, and it is really soft and movable. See how it's very flexible. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna lightly spritz and use this really soft brush. See if I can get y'all in the camera. Now, if this, when you get done, like I get done and say, gosh, that's just really not enough contrast, you can add another color glaze, which I might. I was wanting to try my light brown sugar glaze, but I can't find it. Let my neighbor borrow it, and I'm pretty sure she gave it back, but I cannot find it. No telling. Okay, I think I like that. I think I'm just gonna let that dry like this, okay? And it has a pretty little sheen to it. I don't want to say metallic, but I think it does have a little bit of metallic sheen to it. And I think that'll be pretty. Maybe y'all can see. Isn't that pretty? That's just really pretty. But like I said, if you wanted more of a contrast, you could have added a darker glaze. And I may. But I love this. Love this. Very nice. Okay, so I'm gonna set this off to dry. All right, and that is all she wrote.